Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and we got the sneak peek for the mid-month update to Symbiote Invasion 2. And like some had predicted, it was the data mined Carnage getting an absolutely amazing new look. However, the story goes a little bit deeper and is a little bit more complicated. Let's go check out what it says on the forums, because here we have very little. This rageful symbiote returns from the underworld, ready to unleash extreme carnage. Very cool. Over on the forums, we get a little bit more information. The symbiote who has prepared for an extreme battle has returned to Marvel Future Fight from the underworld. The Fallen Soul. Pretty cool name there. Check out the new looks of this brutal symbiote. We will announce more information through the patch details later. So, based on previous sneak peeks, when you see this sentence right here, it means the signal to the players, there are no more sneak peeks. So we assume as players, especially recently with the way things have gone, that this means that this is the only sneak peek, this is the mid-month update, so this is going to be the character that gets a tier 3 or a tier 4. But we already know from Carnage existing in the game, he got his tier 3 2 years ago with the first Symbiote Invasion, when he got his absolute Carnage look from the Null series and King in Black and all that stuff. So Carnage is getting a tier 4. That is what has been data mined. That is what is on the players' minds. However, here's where it gets more complicated and bizarre. Take your time if you want. Go watch this video. I cannot find for the life of me where the tier 4 sneak peek is. It's not at the beginning in the goo, right? It's not in the goo here. If you go through quick, there's no tier 4 here. And the sneak peek team are amazing, right? They know exactly what they're doing. There's no tier 4 here. Right? I'm not saying he can't get a tier 4. I'm just saying that this is a very bizarre and unusual set of circumstances to have. And it doesn't stop here. It's not just the fact that we're getting Carnage without a tier 4, a very obvious tier 4 indicator. I mean, you can look on his character model. I don't see any, like, the character model is extremely detailed. This is highly detailed. You have the, I don't know what this is, Latin or whatever. You have the little, no, this looks like Norse. You have the words here because he actually goes to Malekith, actually, to find Malekith in the underworld. He has this really cool like fork weapon, and then he looks amazing, right? The really cool pauldrons, the whole outfit. This Carnage looks insanely cool. But there's no tier 4. Where's the tier 4? Where's the tier 4? Clue, right? Where is it? It's nowhere to be found. Are they just going to give Carnage a uniform and nothing else? I find that very hard to believe, because if they're going to give Carnage a uniform and nothing else, he's probably not going to be much stronger than Gore. And we're already mad at how not strong Gore is because he's being overshadowed by tier 4s, right? So I don't mean to get people worried. I do think we are going to see Carnage tier 4, and I'll address my issues with that later in the video. But what I am already sensing as a potential problem is we can call it the Miss Marvel Gore paradox. And that is characters who are going to come, like new characters that are going to come out like Gore, or characters that are just going to get their tier 3 or Transcendence like Miss Marvel. They're going to have to be very finely tuned for the meta. And Miss Marvel is a good example of being finely tuned, where she can compete with Doctor Strange and she can compete with some tier 4s, and this is a very good rework. And Gore is an example of a very badly tuned character who feels underpowered, right? The whole problem with getting tier 4s before every character got tier 3 and Transcendence is what we're seeing now, is that we're going to have some characters who get good reworks and some characters that get bad reworks, and the player base is going to be frustrated. So this was the risk that the devs took by fast tracking tier 4, and obviously it has had its benefits. It's breathed some life into the game, it's brought some players back, it's kept things interesting for existing players and the big spenders and whales. It's generated more revenue for the game. Okay, that's nice, but on the other hand, it does create this awkward situation. So for example, if Carnage only gets the uniform, they're going to have to overtune the hell out of it in order to justify you buying just the uniform, because he's staying at tier 3. However, if he can go to tier 4, then you can tune him to other tier 4s and then he's fine, right? But then again, it still leaves other tier 3s and Transcendences in the dust faster and sooner. So It's a very difficult balancing act. I don't envy the job of the devs. However, I do think that they've been doing a pretty good job of it. I will say that, but they definitely need to step it up, especially when it comes to Gore. And then maybe we'll see for Carnage. But the weirdness and the oddities do not stop there. So we have no verbal indication of a tier 4. No new abilities, new power, upgrade, advancement. None of those words were used in the sneak peek. Okay. What about the sneak peek itself? Any tier 4 logo here? No tier 4 logo here. Anything out of place compared to the design from the comics? No, it's literally a 1-for-1. So it's beautiful. I gotta say, the devs, the art department, the sneak peek team, they knocked it out of the park. This is a Barry Bonds 78 home run season. He never tested positive for performance enhancing substances. Look at how cool this Carnage looks. Seriously. I gotta, and that's, by the way, I made a mistake. I thought this was null. It's not null. This is Malekith. Okay? But this Carnage may be the coolest Carnage I've ever seen, the coolest design. And it is literally lifelike in Marvel Future Fight. No game does it better than MFF. Not MFR, not MCOC. Nobody does it better than MFF when it comes to recreating comic book looks in the game. They have literally every detail down to the last tentacle. Here's where it gets even more bizarre, though. When did this comic come out, you're wondering? Maybe you're a comic book fan, but you don't remember this hitting shelves. Well, you may not remember it hitting shelves because it only did a month ago. This is issue 6 of a solo Carnage run. And this issue, the 6th issue where we get the first reveal for this version of Carnage, only came out a month ago in August of 2022. This is the soonest we've ever seen the devs and MFF adopt a comic book look for a character. We waited almost a year for Herald Thor. Same thing with King in Black. We waited way longer for other looks for these characters. Maybe House of X and Powers of 10 right there is probably the only other one that we got very close to when it was. But again, it was close to a year, if not a year, after Hickman's groundbreaking readaptation of the sort of mutant backstory. But not only is this a month old, which again is like, it's as fresh as it can be to be in the game already. The adaptation speed is insanely fast. But I read through the comic, and Carnage does not take this form in the entire comic. He does not. I went through the comic, and he does not take form. He has a really cool wolf. He has a really cool wolf made of symbiote, and he's trying to kill Malekith or kidnap Malekith or something. But he does not have the look in the issue. And issue 7 doesn't come out until next month in October. So this is very bizarre, I must say. And it's interesting. Maybe it's a new tactic by Marvel. Maybe the comic issue in the series isn't selling very well, so they're trying sort of like a reverse, a classic reversey. We're gonna advertise it in the game, kind of first, and then see if it will get people to buy the comic. I have no idea, but it's quite interesting, and it's quite new, and that much I can appreciate from Marvel Future Fight. Still pushing the boundaries. There may be a much simpler, much easier explanation for why this is happening, and if that probably is the right explanation is often the easiest and the least exciting. But yeah, in 7 years of covering MFF, I don't think I've ever seen a comic book get adapted, a comic book look get adapted this quickly. Like literally less than 2 months later, he's getting added to the game. So the devs must have been working on this character model immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like this, it's wow. So yeah, really cool look coming up for Carnage here. Last thing I want to discuss is if he is getting his tier 4. We've already covered and touched on why if he's not getting his tier 4, it puts him in a very awkward position and situation. However, if he is getting a tier 4, it also kind of puts him in an awkward situation. Now, a lot of players have pointed out that Venom needs a partner for his tier 4 striker skill. Now, even though Venom is a hero with this uniform and with other uniforms, his base look is villain. This is a villain uniform first and foremost. not uniform, like his base before uniforms. So he still keeps his base instinct of cruelty. You can see there, just under superhero, it says cruelty. He is not a justice instinct. If he was a hero from his base look, his instinct would be justice, and it would match Iron Man's, it would match Moon Knight's, it would match Hulk's, it would match Black Widow's. But it doesn't. It's cruelty. So right now he has no character that can perfectly buff and bring his King's Charge striker ability to max value. So as you can see here, these would be the characters that could do that. These would be human villains. And yeah, Carnage fits the bill. Even if Scream wouldn't get it because she just got Transcendence. But yeah, Carnage fits the bill as the most likely option to get a tier 4. To get that upgrade, to give him the maximum amount of buffs. The basic attack is probably going to go to 95 or 100%. The tier 3 charge is going to go to 10 or 12%. And the max HP is going to go whatever, 15 or 16 or something kind of percent. It's going to go up a little bit. So that is another thing that points in the direction of Carnage getting a tier 4, even though there's no tier 4 hint in the sneak peek and there's no tier 4 hint in the text on the forums. However, it is awkward because we have Moon Knight and we have Venom and we have Hulk. We already have 3 combat tier 4s, and we're getting a 4th one. We're getting a 4th combat tier 4 before getting a 2nd universal tier 4, before getting a 2nd speed tier 4. Very, very odd, very strange. I know we have 3 blast tier 4s, so it's not that much different, but the ordering of tier 4s in Marvel Future Fight has been so bizarre, right? We all thought it was going to be blast, combat, universal, speed. Blast, combat, universal, speed. Oh, it's like a merry-go-round. That makes so much sense. Whee! What did the devs do? Blast, combat, universal, blast, combat, speed, combat, combat. What is that? What kind of fever dream have you been on? That is, that is the jazz improvisation of MFF tier 4 planning. So yeah. And the other thing that makes Carnage a bit of an awkward tier 4 is knowing that in November we're getting Wakanda Forever. And even if you don't want any spoilers for the movie, and trust me, I don't want them either, you know that Black Panther should be getting a tier 4 for that movie, even though Chadwick Boseman, of course, RIP. They should honor him, give him a new uniform, give him a tier 4 upgrade. That's the least they can do. And then, of course, the brand new hero that's being introduced as a sort of antagonist to the Wakandan kingdom is Namor. Namor should be getting his tier 4 as well. Ladies and gentlemen, may I point out that Namor and Black Panther are both combat class. So we're going to be getting at least two more combat tier 4s by the end of the year. That's going to put us at 6 combat tier 4s in less than a year. Because this system was introduced in May. That is a blistering pace for the combat class. I mean, listen, I was obviously wrong. It wasn't the year of the mutants this year. It was the year of the combats. But yeah, it does kind of, it makes it more difficult. It does kind of make it awkward, and it does make it more difficult to suss out the value between these characters because they all start to mold together a little bit. Like there's not a lot separating Moon Knight and Venom. Hulk right now is being separated because of his PvP value. Where is Carnage going to fit into that equation? So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of that. Let me know what you think of this outstandingly cool look. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.